Okay, let's start with a question. What if what we call civilization, what if it isn't just, organic growth? What if it's actually a meticulously designed system, something intentionally shaping our reality, maybe even our choices?
That's a heavy opener.
It is. And it's really the core idea in the materials we're looking at today. We're digging into this multidisciplinary analysis. And these sources, they talk about a hidden architecture of control.
Right. And their angle is that this system doesn't just have problems like coercion or chaos, it operates through them. Like it's designed that way.
Exactly. Engineered chaos, not random failure. So our mission here is really to unpack this complex idea. We're aiming for clarity, maybe not comfort.
Well, it's definitely compelling stuff. The sources argue that the global order we see, it functions more like a control structure than, say, a facilitator of progress. Mm-hmm. And one of the really striking ideas is how it seems to systematically select for sociopathy.
Elect for it.
Yeah. Well, punishing empathy. It fosters dependence. And at the heart of it, they describe this thing called the scarcity machine.
Scarcity machine.
Basically, a system that manufactures deprivation. It makes sure that getting basic things, food, health, shelter, it's always mediated somehow.
Mediated by what?
By coercion or debt or just sheer obligation. Access isn't a given.
So it's not just that there are bad actors out there, but the system itself kind of promotes them. This ties into how they reframe market failure, right?
Precisely. They see it more as engineered collapse.
Engineered collapse.
Yeah, the idea is when a system consistently fails, but that failure benefits a specific group, maybe it's not a bug. Maybe it's a feature.
Okay, like the 2008 crisis, that example comes up.
It does. Publicly, a market failure needing bailouts, right? Taxpayer money.
Right.
But these sources highlight how those bailed out banks then turned around and used that capital to buy up huge numbers of foreclosed homes.
Consolidating assets.
Exactly, which drove up housing insecurity. For lots of people, it turned shelter into a lever of control, essentially. Mm-hmm. Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It really does. How many other failures could fit that pattern?
And if economics is one lever, the sources suggest another, maybe more insidious one, what they call the Kompromat Economy.
Kompromat. So compromising information, blackmail.
Yeah, but systemic, not just isolated incidents. They present it as this underlying framework where blackmail, leverage, that's the real currency of power.
And the Epstein network is mentioned in this context.
It is highlighted as a sort of system node, not just a one-off criminal enterprise, but part of this larger architecture.
They even quote a former CIA officer calling Epstein a textbook access agent.
Right, which, if true, raises big questions about institutional protection. How deep does it go?
And these patterns, they argue, aren't new. They point to older cases.
Like McMartin Preschool, where you had all those accusations, but ultimately no convictions, disproven claims.
Or the Finders Group, the cult-like one with alleged intelligence links, child trafficking accusations.
Yeah, and the sources mentioned that FBI vault document, the customs report claiming the CIA owned the group as a front, though the CIA denied it strongly.
Called it ridiculous, I think.
Right. But the point the sources make is that these cases seem to show a pattern of narrative control, maybe institutional protection.
Okay, so economic control, blackmail.
Yeah.
What else forms this architecture?
Well, there's the psychological aspect. They talk about a gaslight grid.
Gaslight grid, manipulating truth itself.
Sort of, a system designed to make people doubt what's real. It works partly by amplifying really absurd theories.
To make any questioning look crazy.
Exactly. While at the same time, serious critiques get framed as dangerous disinformation. It's about managing perception.
And this connects to modern psychological operations.
They claim it does, referencing things like V2K or voice-to-skull technology.
That sounds like science fiction.
Well, they mention the Frey effect microwaves inducing auditory sensations. And they point to actual U.S. government patents, like US 4,877,027 describing inducing hearing in the head.
Just showing the potential tech exists, perhaps.
That seems to be the implication, linking it back to older programs like MK Ultra, suggesting a continuity.
Wow. Okay, and they use a specific case study for this control idea. MedJet's Flight 056.
Yes. They present forensic analysis suggesting, well, an impossible scenario. A descent rate 4 times terminal velocity, defying physics.
4 times.
That's the claim. Plus witness reports of a fireball rising, leading them to argue is more like a controlled demolition.
And the circumstances around the patient?
Publicly, a medevac case. But the sources say the patient had just celebrated newfound health. And critically, the cockpit voice recorder.
Let me guess, it wasn't working.
Had been inoperative for years, apparently, which the sources frame as clear evidence suppression. A choreographed event, they argue.
A chilling example, if their analysis holds up.
It is. So wrapping it all together, the core proposal from these sources is pretty radical. They're suggesting that maybe civilization, as we experience it, could be a kind of highly sophisticated psychological operation.
Where violence is institutionalized.
And scarcity is manufactured, all geared towards control. Not an accident, but a design.
It's a lot to take in. So, the final thought for you, listening. If recognizing this potential choreographed system is the first step, what does that really imply about the journey? About building something genuinely different, maybe truly free, something to think about?